Shabbat Shalom and welcome to the Virtual House Church. It's my blessing to be with you once again in this week. We're doing again Virtual House Church here in Light to the Nations channel. It's my blessing to be doing it again. It's a little bit late. Unfortunately, I wasn't prepared once again to do Virtual House Church. Because I'm traveling, I'm not at my regular place, so my connection is not working properly. So I was not planning to join the Virtual House Church, but I got an email from Karen that it seems that Rob is not well yet. I haven't heard from him so far. So we need to keep him in our prayers. I don't know what is affecting him. I haven't received any notification or communication by him. Only the email that I got from Karen today. So I don't know, as I said, what he's suffering today. So we need to keep Rob in our prayers. There are many attacks from the enemy to the children of Elohim nowadays. We know the persecution that we are suffering nowadays, and we need to pray for protection. We need to pray to Yahuwah, protect his people. We need to pray for our brothers and sisters around the world in order to be one, in order to be united through the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit, in order to have the strength we need, the strength that is coming from Yahuwah directly. So that's the only way that we can go through the current situation, go through the difficulties, is just asking our Father to help us all. So I saw this email from Karen. As I told you, I haven't received any communication, so I don't have more things to share with you, since I don't have the details. And yes, I just saw in the chat here that it seems that in the channel of Sen Garcia there is more information about Rob. I haven't checked it, so I will do it after this broadcast. So, but again, the bottom line, the main message: let's keep Rob in our prayers, and not only Rob. Let's keep the entire body of Yahuwah in our prayers on a daily basis. It's more than needed nowadays. This is what we have to do. So, I'm gonna apologize in advance because, as I told you, I am not prepared even technically. Doing broadcast, in case you don't know, is much easier when you do it with more screens and so on, because you need to manage different windows, different applications, just to make it easier. I have only my one screen on my laptop. If I show you where I am, you will not believe it. I had to prepare my background in somehow in order to not to show you the mess I have over here, because I think I shared this in a previous broadcast. I had an amazing blessing from Yahuwah, especially this year. And I'm building a house outside in the countryside. So I'm this week I'm in this place, building the house. If I show you now, you will see a construction is going on here, doing myself with my parents that are helping me here with my wife. So I try to do it as best as possible in order to have this broadcast. So if you see some issues in the connection, my connection is not the best now. But I'm doing it with all my heart. I have been telling you in the previous weeks, I think Virtual House Church is such a blessing for all of us that it doesn't matter the technical issues, it doesn't matter any technicality, it doesn't matter. I don't know, that we are not with enough preparation. Nothing matters actually. What it matters is to be here, to have this platform, to have the opportunity to share. At least maybe we don't have too much to share, but we need to let the Ruach to guide us. You know, my wife is always making jokes of me because every week, and I will tell you this in advance, every week that I'm gonna join the Virtual House Church, even 5 minutes before joining, I'm always telling at home, I don't know what to share. I don't know what to share. I have nothing prepared. So, and last week I was in that way, and you know, and I had nothing prepared the last week, and we spent almost 2 hours in the broadcast, just the Ruach speaking and sharing what we needed to hear. I have my notes from last year. We were reading here with my family the portion today. I have few things to share with you, but once again, we will let the Ruach to speak. And most importantly, is to have the space to share between us, to be in one mind, with one heart, looking and seeking the face of Yahweh. I think this is exactly what we need to do. So I just want to thank you, all of you that has joined me today. I see 36 people already connected. So this is an amazing blessing. And once again, my apologies for the short notice, but I had to do this. I hope that Rob and his family is doing well. He is in my prayers. I know that he is in your prayers, and I really hope that we are going to have Rob once again doing Virtual House Church in his channel. It's my commitment. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but it's my commitment in my heart. If I have to step in, I will do it. I think it's so important to me and to all of us to have this space that we need to do all the effort. So once again, thank you to be with me here. And let's see what the Ruach is going to speak to us. So, you know, most probably all of you already are part of Virtual House Church every week. But in case you are new, Virtual House Church is the space for the believers in the true Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim Sebaot. He is the creator of heavens and earth. And this is the space for us, the believers of Yahuwah, that's his name, to gather together virtually in order to study his word, in order to study the way of Yahuwah, in order to study the lifestyle that Yahuwah has defined and has established for his creation. You know, in the past, I used to share with people, not believers. I had the chance to share with some people in the past. And in the way that I always presented the good news and presenting the truth of Yahuwah and his word, I was doing the comparison to the creation. You know, the creation has laws. The creation has instruction that are invisible to our eyes. You know, we see the sun coming up and setting up day by day. We see the stars doing exactly the same. We see the fields and the food growing in the earth with a cycle that is repeating itself every year, every day, and so on. So we see an amazing wisdom going on that is unseen to our physical eyes. But we see how this wisdom, this laws, this instruction has been set by Yahuwah Elohim. So if we see that the creation is working in this way, and it has been established a law, an instruction, a way to work, the same is applicable to us, human beings. Yahuwah is our creator, and he has defined for us in the same way that he defined for the animals, in the same way that he defined for the host of the heavens, in the same way that he defined for the fields and the food on the fields. He has defined for us a way of life, instruction of life. And those instruction of life, if we go aside of those instructions, we are going to be going against the whole creation. We are not going to work and we are not going to be in harmony with the creator of heaven and earth. and we are not going to be in harmony with the Creator. And we see how this is going on. We see the situation that's happening in the creation today. We see this painful situation in nature. You know, everybody is discussing and saying, science is saying that this is a climate change and so on. We know, because we believe in the word of Yahuwah, that these are the labor pains over the earth. This is exactly what's happening today. So what we are doing here in Virtual House Church is exactly to understand and learn those instructions that are written. And this is a miracle by itself. Those instructions that are written here in this book, in the word of Yahuwah, and why I'm saying it's a miracle in itself, because having this book for so many years, and has been able to survive many attacks and many tries of destruction, and has been able to survive for so many years and centuries, is because that's a miracle that Yahuwah has preserved his word. And understanding this miracle is something that we need to realize and also to believe and use it in our own benefit, because in his word it is written, his word by even Yahushua HaMashiach, that maybe you knew him as a Jesus Christ. Yahushua, his name, his real and Hebrew name, he said that his word, the word of Yahuwah, is true. So the intention of Virtual House Church is exactly that, is to study, go to the basic. As you can see above my head, is saying getting back to basics, Virtual House Church. So getting back to basics is to understand the instruction of Yahuwah Elohim. So once again, thank you to be here. We'll see what we are studying today. But as we have been doing it in the last few weeks, I will invite you, and we're going to start with a prayer. Especially, we're going to pray for Rob and his healing. And we're going to pray for the people of Yahuwah to be joined together in one mind, one body, and one heart, in order to worship Yahuwah, in order to hold his hand with strength, in order to have this spiritual and physical strength to go through the situation we're going on today. So I will invite you to close your eyes, lift up your hands to heaven, and pray it along with me. So, Yahuwah Elohim, in this moment we want to give thanks to you because we have been enjoying this Shabbat. We want to give thanks to you, Yahuwah, because you set us apart through your covenant, through your mitzvot, your commandments, your instructions. Because you set us apart through the sacrifice, the offering of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. And we believe in you, we believe in your word. We know that your word is truth. And no matter the situations that we have to live, nothing will apart us and keep us away from the love to you through Yahushua HaMashiach. We only ask in this moment now that you give us the strength. We know that we are beside you. We have nothing to fear. But sometimes we go astray, we fail, because sin is in our flesh. But we know and we believe that through Yahushua HaMashiach, you give us forgiveness of sin. And the intention and the desire of our heart is to worship you, is to praise you, is to seek your face, and to walk in your path. So listen to our voice, because we need you every day of our lives, because in you we found the fullness of our life. Without you, we are nothing. And in this moment, we ask your strength. We ask you increase our faith, our emunah, because the times that we're living are not easy. And we know that only through you we can survive what's coming. Only through you and your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, we find salvation. And we grasp and we cling to you with all our hope in our hearts, that your truth and your promises are going to be fulfilled. And we are part of your kingdom. We are your people, Israel, in the four corners of the earth. So give us the strength, give us your healing. And in this special moment, we ask you for our brother Rob. You know what is affecting him. You know where he is right now. We ask you, Father, that you go with your healing hand in this moment. We know that you are our creator. You are the ones that heals our bodies. So in this moment, Abba, we ask you to look into your servant, Rob. He has been serving you for so many years, and you have been revealing so much truth through him. He needs you in this moment, O Yahuwah. So we ask you that you go in wherever he is right now, and you touch him with your healing hands. He doesn't need of any medicine, just you, Abba, because you are the healers. You are the one healing our bodies. So we have the faith, Abba, in the same way that Hiskiyahu, that king, that he was dying, he was asking to you for healing, and you heal him. That's our faith, Abba. So we ask you in this moment that you go in the place that Rob is right now, in the same way that Yahushua was healing the servant of that centurion from Rome, that in this moment you go and heal what is affecting Rob, and you can restore his health. We trust in you, Abba, and we pray to you in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, that you go in the place where he is right now, and you declare healings to him. And through the faith and through believing in the name of Yahushua, we declare restoration to his body in this moment. Yahushua said that the greater things than him we will do, and we believe on that. And we ask you, Abba, that your power and your miracles go through us and touch him through your Ruach HaKodesh, and your healings are being in his body in this moment. Thank you, Yahuwah, for listening to our voice. Join us in your Ruach in this moment of troubles, that we can go more and more seeking for your face and seeking your truth. You are the Elohim, the only one Elohim, the creator of heaven and earth, and we believe on you, and we know that your promises are truth. And in this moment, Abba, we ask you that you be among us, that your presence be with us in this moment. Speak through us, that we can study your word, that we can understand and have the wisdom to understand your words, Abba, because we want to grow in the knowledge of your truth. Thank you, Abba, for giving us the opportunity to join in this moment, in this platform, in this virtual house church, because the ones that we are here is because we want to partake between us, to be in one mind, in one heart, in order to worship you, in order to praise you, Abba. Thank you for giving us this opportunity, Abba. Thank you for your Shabbat. Thank you for your word, and thank you for your way, and thank you for Yahushua HaMashiach, our Melech, our King. Thank you, Abba, for listening to our voice, for inclining your ears to us. And we pray to you, Abba, with all our heart, with all our mind, in truth, in Ruach, in spirit and in truth, and in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. So, it's always nice to pray. And we need to believe that Rob is going to have the restoration he needs. This is our prayer, and we know that it's not only us that we are praying for Rob and praying for all the body of Yahuwah. We know that many people are praying nowadays. Prayer is our tool. Prayer is our weapon, and we need to use it more and more in these times. So, as always, I want to share, first of all, the Parashah in 60 seconds, just to have a summary of what this portion is about. There are many things that are really important, but I want to, as is custom now, we used to do it in Virtual House Church. So let's go and let's share the Parashah in 60 seconds. So here we go. Since that is not working, let's see. Just be patient with me. I told you about the technicalities. So let's see if this is going to work now.
Shalom and welcome to Parashah in 60 seconds. Today's portion is from Deuteronomy 16:18-21:9. It is called Shoftim, which means judges. Moses sets up an impartial justice system without bribes and warns the Israelites against setting up idols. Sacrificing an ox or sheep with any serious defect was not cool. 2 or more witnesses were required to convict an idolater to death, and the witnesses would throw the first stones. If a false witness was found out, then they would meet the fate of the one who they were trying to falsely accuse. The Israelites were free to set a king above them, taking an Israelite chosen by God. The king was not to keep many horses, marry many wives, or collect excessive silver and gold. Solomon. The king was to keep the law, and his descendants would enjoy a long reign. The Israelites were not to imitate the evil practices of the nations, such as child sacrifice, witchcraft, and fortune-telling. Moses foretold that God would raise a prophet from among them like Moses, and they were to listen to him. False prophets would also arise, and they must be tested. If found false, they would be put to death. The cities of refuge were established for accidental deaths, such as an axe head falling off the handle and killing a neighbor. When attacking a town, they were to offer terms of peace. Surrender meant enslavement. Not surrendering meant the men were killed and the women, children, livestock, and everything else were taken. Unidentified bodies were absolved by God after a ritual involving a heifer. And that is Shoftim in 60 seconds.
So amazing summary, like always in the portion 60 seconds. You know, we will touch in some of the points about this portion today that it touched me a lot last year, and I think it's so important to review it because somehow it's connected to what we were chatting in the last 2 weeks. Really important points that is important for us to have it in mind. And also, I saw 2 new things that I haven't seen before, and it's important to understand. Maybe there's small things, but you know, it's so important to take a look in maybe few words in the word of Yahuwah that is speaking too much to us. So, but before going there, as we have been doing in the last 3 weeks, I want to share the song with you that I find really nice. So we can enter in the rhythm and in the mindset and in the spirit of sharing the word of Yahuwah. So let me put the song here. So here we go.
יבוא אלינו, יבוא
What an amazing song, you know. Yavo, Yavo Eleinu. He will come for us. This is our hope. Yahushua HaMashiach, He is coming for us. You know, we need to hold fast to this truth. We need to hold fast to this hope. You know, all the disciples of Yahushua was speaking about this. Can you imagine what they had to suffer? They went through so much suffering, but they stand firm in the rock. They stand firm in that hope. You know, maybe people were mocking on them because, you know, they were believing that Yahushua was coming just few days after he rise up and lift up to heaven. But they grasped to that hope, no matter that the time was passing on. They knew that the words of Yahushua HaMashiach and the words of Yahuwah were truth and are truth. And we need to have the same mindset that we know that Yahushua HaMashiach will come for us. He will take us from the four corners of the earth. He will stop all suffering from his people, and not only from his people, he will stop all suffering from this earth by establishing the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. That is the righteousness that the only way that peace, real shalom, will come to this earth. So people likes to listen and hear in the system of the world about peace and security, as even is written in the word of Yahuwah. There's no peace and security away from Yahuwah. The only way to have true shalom is that shalom that Yahushua HaMashiach is bringing to us directly from the Father. Is the shalom that the world and the system of the world don't understand and cannot give to us. So this needs to be our hope, that Yahushua is coming, and we know, there's no doubt in your heart, I believe, and not in my heart either, that that time is coming very soon. It has never been a time like this that we have been seeing so many things happening on this world. There's not been a time like this that we have seen the word of Yahuwah fulfilling itself in front of our eyes. So this is not the time to fear. This is not the time to go away and go astray. This is not the time to go through our emotions and our emotions to take hold of us. And this is one of the most difficult things to do. It's not the time for our mind to be in charge of ourselves. It's the time for us to live through the Spirit. It's the time to live through the Ruach HaKodesh. It's the time to let Yahushua HaMashiach to live in us. Because that's the only way that we are going to fulfill our purpose. That's the only way that we are going to be able to go through what's happening and what's coming. So it's very easy to say it, I know. I failed all the time. My emotions play difficult in situations, in different situations. I know that because it's happening to me as well, that every day has his own challenges. Every day has its own evil. But it's in those moments that we need to breathe a moment and we need to understand that we are children of Elohim. It's in those moments of failure, on those moments of difficulties, those moments of challenges, that our true nature needs to come up and to appear. And our true nature is not this flesh. Our true nature is the inner man, is the inner woman that Yahuwah has created. Is that inner woman and inner man that is subject directly to Elohim. So again, it's easy to say it. It's not easy to do it. But in doing it is where we fulfill our purpose. In doing it is where we fulfill our faith. In doing it is how we do the will and the desire of Yahuwah. So no matter the difficulties, we know that we have such an amazing Elohim, the only Elohim, that He can give us the strength. The only thing we have to do is to seek for that strength. We need to ask Abba with our voice for that strength. So let's hold fast to that hope. Yahushua HaMashiach, our King, is coming for us. So let's start sharing some points about the portion. And we see in this portion about the Shoftim, the judges, and not only that, it's about the righteous judgment. And this is so important because it's part of the instruction and the way of life that we need to understand. And why this is so important? Because there are many places in the scripture that we will see that we need to learn this path. Is the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah is going to be established. This is the moment for us to learn. And why is that? Because we were discussing in the last few weeks that about the kingdom of Yahuwah. Is the kingdom of Yahuwah among us today? And it's my belief that the answer is yes. Because you and me are part of that kingdom. The only difference is that the kingdom has not been established. Because we are waiting for the king of that kingdom to come back and to establish definitely this kingdom. You know, I was making jokes many years ago when my first trip to Israel. I had the chance to see with my own eyes how difficult and how complicated the situation is in the country Israel, in the land of Israel today, with so many idolatry, so many political issues, so many different point of views of people. You know, when I went to the old city of Jerusalem, my heart was very sad because I was able to see with my own eyes many things that have been are written in the word of Yahuwah about idolatry in this place. You know, different religions in that place, and idolatry everywhere you see. And I was understanding, and that was part of the joke that I was making later, is that everybody in Israel, or that knows about the difficulties in the current Middle East, know that getting peace in that place is impossible. We know that it is written that it will come one that he will present himself as the Mashiach, and is not, that he will try to bring peace. And maybe he will do it for a period of time, but that's going to be a fake peace. But you know what I was saying back then, just understanding the situation by myself, is that the only way to do this is through a coup. It's going to come Yahushua HaMashiach, and he's going to destroy everything, and he's going to replace everything, and he's going to establish the kingdom of Yahuwah by force. And this is exactly what he's going to do, because that the only way to do and to bring real peace is by doing by force, and we are going to have the stronger one doing it. So I think we need to understand that what's coming, and that kingdom will be established, and the rules and the structure and the righteousness of that kingdom is something that's going to be applicable and applied not only in Israel, it's going to be applied for the entire world. And our purpose and our work in that moment is going to be really important. We will see some passages most probably now. So this is the moment to understand, because if we are representative of that kingdom, and if we need to bring light to this world full of darkness in this moment, if we are following the instruction of Yahushua HaMashiach to bring the good news to the world, we need to bring the righteousness. Because what is the good news? The good news are the good news of the kingdom of Yahuwah. And the kingdom of Yahuwah is coming with the righteousness of the kingdom. So this is the moment to learn that righteousness. And this is exactly what we see about the judges. So let me switch my screen here. Let's put the scripture. Now you can see the scripture. Cannot see your comments. So let me arrange my windows in just one screen to make it much easier for me. So okay, here we are. So let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim. So as I always say in my videos, and I have been telling you, don't read only the scripture that I put in front of you. You know, it's not the same when you read a book in a screen, when you are reading it directly in the book with the book in your hands. The experience is totally different. So we need to use these applications that are so important and has been making our life so much easier, especially when we're studying the word of Yahuwah, like the eastword that I have been telling you. It's an amazing tool. Or the Blue Letter Bible in the web. Those are amazing tools, but you know, it doesn't replace the fact of having the written word of Yahuwah in our hands. We are so privileged of having it, because can you remember the disciples of Mashiach? They didn't have the scripture. They knew the scripture, by memory. They needed to go to the synagogue, because in the synagogue was the scripture of Yahuwah, the Tanakh, the Old Testament that everybody knows today. So now we have the privilege of having the written word of Yahuwah. And if you don't have a written word, this is the time to take it. You need to have a copy of the word of Yahuwah. Don't rely on the technology only. I can tell you, because I work in technology. My secular job is connected to technology. So I can tell you by first hand, don't rely on technology. Have your own copy of the word of Yahuwah. And in case you can have more than one copy, do it. Because not only the experience is different, it's because it's important to use the privilege we have in our time to have a hard copy of this amazing book. It's the only book, the most important book in the history of the humankind. So we need to have it. So my invitation, again, is to take your scripture, go to the passage and read along with me. Okay, so let's go to the book of Devarim. This is the Hebrew name of the book. Devarim is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16. And we are going to read the verse 18 and 19. So it says like this: appoint judges and officers within all your gates, which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous right ruling. Do not distort right ruling, do not show partiality, nor take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of the righteous. So, if we compare to what's happening in this world today, we see so much corruption going on in every aspect of our society. Even we were discussing here at home today, is that in my own country, we were very proud that there were not so much corruption like in other places of the world. But what's happening today is that the corruption is popping up every place. So, why this corruption is happening is because the heart of man is corrupted. And the only way not to be corrupted, the only way to be righteous, is by following the ancient path, is by following the narrow path, is by following the truth and the life of the path and the truth of Yahuwah, and being led by the step of Yahushua HaMashiach. So we say in this portion the clear instruction to the Shoftim. This is the Hebrew name for the judges, Shoftim, and that they needed they needed to avoid taking a bribe. They needed to judge with the righteous judgment. And this is so important because, one of the notes I have here is that our calling is to be imitators of Yahushua HaMashiach. But even more, we need to act as Yahuwah Elohim does. So let's see what we have here in this portion, in this passage. In the same book, in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 17 to 18. So it says like this: For Yahuwah your Elohim is Elohim of mighty ones, a master of masters, the great El, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality, nor takes a bribe. He executes right ruling for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the stranger, giving him food and a garment. So we see this is in the heart of Yahuwah. He is acting like this. He doesn't show partiality. He doesn't take bribe. He executes right ruling. And the least that he's going to expect from his people is to act in the same way. That's why he's calling to us, and not only to the Shoftim, to the judges, the calling to his people is to act in the same way, to be imitators of him, to live in this way. This is the lifestyle that he is asking for his people, establishing for his people Israel. And this is exactly what's going to happen in this world. That's why Yahushua HaMashiach was saying that his shalom is not like the shalom that we find in this world, because the shalom that will be on earth at the moment of the establishment of the kingdom of Yahuwah will have no comparison to what we know. We have been born in this system. We have been born in this world. But we believe what is written in the word of Yahuwah, that this shalom, we will see it with our eyes, we will experience in our life. And this leads to our hope. But this is the moment to learn it. Maybe we cannot practice this righteousness in this world today as we would like to do it, because we are under the system of the beast. But we are not a part of the system because we belong to the kingdom of Yahuwah. That's the main difference. But we know, and that's our hope, that we are going to be able to live 100% through that system of the kingdom of Yahuwah very soon. But in the meantime, what we need to do our most of our effort to live according to this instruction as much as we can. So Yahushua HaMashiach was talking about that. And one of the points that he was making is that we need to judge according to what is written here. We should not judge situations with our own eyes on what we see. So let's go and let's see what Yahushua spoke about. And this is in the book of Yehohanan. This is the book of John. Some bodies actually in current Hebrew, they call it Yohanan. And just to share with you, I learned that the word Yo is a contraction of the word Yahu. Okay, so instead of Yohanan, the longer version should be Yahuhanan. That's the Hebrew name of John. So let's go to the book of John, chapter 7. I didn't have even the chance to take a look in these passages from my note from last year, so we will do it on the fly. Let's see what we find here. So, chapter 7, verse 24, sorry. So, okay, I found that here. So this is so amazing. If you read this in context, and let's do it. I think this is really, really nice. So this is a typical discussion with the Pharisees and Yahushua, and what Yahushua is telling them is so important. So let's read it from the verse 16 onward. So it says, Yahushua answered them and said, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone desires to do his desire, he should know concerning the teaching, whether it is from Elohim or whether I speak from myself. And this is an important key that Yahushua is speaking to us, is that the way we need to understand something that we are learning, the way that we need to discern if what we are listening or what we are hearing or what we are seeing is a true teaching from Yahuwah itself, is that we need to compare it against of doing it the desire of Yahuwah. And what is doing the desire of Yahuwah we're speaking about in the last 2 weeks. It is written. It's not something that I'm saying. We saw it directly written in the word of Yahuwah. Doing the desire of Yahuwah, doing the will of Yahuwah is keeping his Torah, keeping his commandments, keeping his covenant. So the only way to compare if what we're seeing and listening in terms of a study is by comparing if what we're listening and receiving is in harmony to the written word of Yahuwah and his Torah. So this is exactly what Yahushua HaMashiach is saying here. Whether it is from Elohim, whether I speak from myself, is he should know concerning the teaching, is by doing the desire of Yahuwah. So let's continue reading in the verse 18. It says, he who speaks from himself is seeking his own esteem, but he who seeks the esteem of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. So this is so important because it's going along to what I said. So let's continue in the verse 19. Did not Moshe give you the Torah? Yet no one of you does the Torah. And this is so amazing because Yahushua was telling them, you are not keeping Torah. You are not keeping the way of Yahuwah. And he continues saying, why do you seek to kill me? The crowd answered and said, you have a demon who seeks to kill you. Yahushua answered and said to them, I did one work and you all marvel. Because of this Moshe has given you the circumcision, though it is not from Moshe, but from the fathers. We know that this was established in the time of Abraham. And you circumcise a man on the Shabbat. If a man receives circumcision on the Shabbat, so that the Torah of Moshe should not be broken, are you wroth with me because I made a man entirely well on the Shabbat? So this is an amazing comparison, and this is just for another topic to discuss, and for many hours about why Yahushua was doing this comparison about circumcision and healing. And this is an amazing thing to study in depth, but we're not going to do it today. We need more time for that. So, and just to end this reading, and this is the passage that I wanted to share with you, because it's connected to what we are reading for the judges, for the Shoftim. Yahushua said the following in the verse 24, do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. So where we find that righteous judgment is in the Torah of Yahuwah. We cannot judge situations according to what we believe, according to the system of the world, and the morale that we have learned through our life from the system of the world. We need to judge according to the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. That's the bottom line. That's is the starting point. Is according to the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. So not to what we see and what we believe. Is according to what Yahuwah has instructed his people in order to judge situations. That's why in the Torah of Yahuwah, we see different instructions, and it's being separated and divided in these different aspects. Everything is a commandment, it's a mitzvot in Hebrew. But we see eduth, those are testimonies. We see hukim, those are laws that basically are related to the service to Yahuwah, most of them. And also we see mishpatim. Mishpatim, those are the right rulings. And most of the time, the mishpatim are related to life situations, day-to-day situations. So Yahuwah is giving us even this instruction, the mishpatim, in order to understand how to judge situation in a righteous way. So this is exactly what Yahushua was talking about. So let's see what else we have here. Let's go to the book of John in the chapter 5. Let's see what Yahushua said also here. In the chapter 5, verse 30. So it's amazing as well, Yahushua referring about his judgment. It's saying, oh, of myself I am unable to do any matter. That needs to be our way to talk as well. By ourselves, we are unable to do any matter. We need Yahuwah beside us. We were discussing today, about the battles of the children of Israel. I'm going to stop here for a moment. And we were reading and we were studying about this story a few weeks ago, when the people of Israel rebelled against Yahuwah after the 12 spies. When the 12 spies came from the land of Israel, from the promised land, and the 10 of them, they gave an evil report. They got scared, and this is exactly what's happening today in our days. They got so scared that they were complaining and saying, why you have been brought us here in order to die? We will see our little ones, our wives, to die in the hands of our enemies. We want to go back to Mizraim, to Egypt. This is emotions, basically, our mind, our thoughts taking control over us. This is exactly that maybe can happen today. But Yahuwah was so tired. I cannot say that he was angry and he was upset. Maybe he was, as we read in context everything that happened. But why he got to the point? Because of the rebellion of the people in so many times. So, but that's not the point that I wanted to make. Is that basically, what happened? They repented the other day and the day after. And they tried to go and battle the people of the land. And Yahuwah said through Moshe, tell them not to go, because I know I'm not among them. And if they go without me, they will need to escape from their enemies. So, and it's exactly what happened. So part of the discussion we had here at home was exactly that, Every time that we do something by our own eyes, we are going to fail. Because as Yahushua was saying here in this passage, in the book of John, Yohanan, chapter 5, verse 30, of myself, I am unable to do any matter. If Yahuwah is not with us, we are unable to do any matter. In order to succeed, in order to be able to do something, we need Yahuwah Elohim beside us. In the same way that was happening in that story. So, especially in this time of troubles, you're going through difficulties. We need to understand that if we try to do everything by our own strength, we are going to fail. And as I was telling you a few minutes ago, we all fail. I also fail miserably every day. Maybe not every day, but some weeks I'm failing every day. But when we do an analysis of the situations that we are going through, sometimes we can understand that why we failed is because we are trying to do things by ourselves. When we shoot down somehow our minds, the feelings, our desires, our will, and we let Yahuwah to guide us, things start to happen in an amazing way. Because this is exactly what Yahuwah and Yahushua was saying here. If we try to do things by ourselves, we're going to fail. We need to let Him to guide us and to do the things. So, I don't know. Again, this is nothing prepared. It's just the Ruach putting things in my mind, in my heart. maybe you need to listen to this word. I'm in need every day to listen to this truth, because we cannot rely on ourselves. Our hope and our truth needs to be on Him. And just for you to know, we are just checking the chat, that the Chris Gamer 123 is my son. So Shabbat Shalom, Cristobal. Nice you're joining us here. So let's continue. We're talking about the righteous judgment. So let's continue reading what is written in the chapter 5, verse 30. It says, "As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own desire, but the desire of the Father who sent me." This is amazing, and you will understand in a moment. It's one of the points that I saw today, and I was looking for some passages, and I didn't find a few passages, and I'm now just reading that everything is connected. So you will understand my words at the end, most probably, but so be patient with me. So again, this is Yahushua HaMashiach giving us the example. He is the example of our lives. He's saying, "As I hear, I judge." And he was hearing Yahuwah the Father. "And my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own desire." This is exactly the way that we need to act. This needs to be our attitude, to do the desire of the Father who is sending us, to do His desire and not our desire. That's the only way. If we do the desire of Yahuwah, we will live according to His Torah. We will live according to His instruction. We will live according to His covenant and His commandments. That's the way to do the desire of Yahuwah, by following the step of Yahushua. So that's the only way that we are going to judge with righteous judgment. That's the way we need to live. So the first thing, and we see a few examples here in Yahushua speaking once again. We have to hear first, then to judge. This is a kind of a process of investigation. We should not react emotionally in order to judge any situation. No, Yahuwah is calling us to be patient. Yahuwah is calling us to be righteous. And this is so important. So let's see what is written here. It's in the same book of John, Yehohanan, chapter 7, verse 50 and 51. And this is important because it's the same passage. And we see this was a follower of Yahushua. It's Nachdimon in Hebrew, Nicodemus. And he was secretly following Yahushua, and he was in secret because he was in fear of the Pharisees. And sometimes, we are in fear of people around us, what they're going to say, what they're going to think, what's going to happen to us. And, this is so important that, our fear, as we have been studying in the previous weeks, needs to be only to Yahuwah Elohim, Sebaot, Yahuwah Elohim of the host. So we see Nachdimon, Nicodemus, telling us something really important. So let's read it together in the verse 50. It says, "Nachdimon, he who came to Yahushua by night, being one of them, said to them," to the Pharisees and the rulers of that time, "Does our Torah judge the man unless it hears first from him and knows what he's doing?" So we see here the way of investigation. And Nachdimon, he was a follower of Yahushua. He was instructed in Torah. And he's giving us exactly what we see even in this portion, I think it's in the chapter 20 or the 21, when we see that we find a body or a person dead in the field. There was a process of investigation that they needed to calculate even what was the city closer to the dead body. So it's a process of investigation, is to listen first. And this is exactly what we see. So we should not react immediately. We need to be patient to the situation because we need to let the Ruach HaKodesh to guide us. in order to understand what's happening, in order to understand how to act, in order to let the Ruach guide us on the steps we need to take, in order to let the Ruach guide us in the righteousness of the word and the kingdom of Yahuwah. If we act according to our mind or according to our own wisdom, we are going to fail. We need to be in silence and waiting for the instruction and the guidance of the Ruach HaKodesh, because it's the Ruach, the one, he will guide us in all righteousness. And what is that righteousness? Is the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. So first to listen and then to act. So why this is so important to us? You know, we can say that this is just for judges. It was for the end. We are not going to judge anybody, and so on. But how this is applicable to us? Let's listen to the words of the Shaul. This is Paul. And let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5. Let's see, verse 12 and 13. So it says the following: For what have I to do with judging outsiders? Do you not judge those who are inside? But Elohim judges those who are outside, and put away the wicked one from among you. This is so important, but and I will stop here for a minute, but let's continue reading on the chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. And it says, Should any of you, holding a matter against another, go to be judged before the unrighteous, and not before the set-apart ones? Do you not know that the set-apart ones shall judge the world? And if the world is judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smaller matters? Do you not know that we shall judge messengers? How much more matters of this life? So why I'm reading this? Because, you know, the letters and the scripture were not divided by chapters or verses in the past. So what Paul was talking about is just one concept from what is written in the chapter 5 and also in the chapter 6. So what's the important point we see here? That Shaul is telling us that we will judge the world. We will judge the outsider. Actually, it's Elohim, the one will judge the outsider. But he is saying here that in the verse 2, that we will judge the world. And even we will judge messengers, the fallen messengers. Okay? So how we are going to judge the world? How we are going to judge those messengers if we don't understand the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah? Because instruction for judges, for Shoftim, and here Paul is saying that we will be Shofetim, we will be judges. We will judge the world together with Yahushua HaMashiach. We will judge the messengers. And we have the instruction is that we need to judge with righteous judgment. We need to judge with the righteousness and the right ruling on the kingdom of Yahuwah. This is the instruction we see here in this portion. So that's why it's the moment for us to learn that righteousness. It's the moment for us to understand and receive the wisdom from Yahuwah in order to learn those right rulings, because we will be judging the world. This is so important. So, and we know that even the kings and priests, and let's read this passage because, you know, I like it so much and it's so important. Let's go to the book of Yehezkel. This is Ezekiel. Yehezkel in Hebrew, chapter 44. Verse 24. And this is talking about it's talking about what? Let's see. Let's read it together. it's talking about the priest, it's talking about the sons of Zadok, you know. And this is important, prophetically speaking, is so important about the sons of Zadok. I have been talking about this in the calendar series in this channel, and how this is so representative and connected to Yahushua HaMashiach being our Kohen Hagadol, our high priest, you know, from the lineage of Zadok, and how this is somehow connected to us. So all what is written here is a connection, a prophetic connection to us. So what is written in the verse 24, talking about the priest, the Kohanim in Hebrew, is that those Kohanim, those priests, says, and they are to stand as judges in a dispute and judge it according to my right rulings, and they are to guard my Torah and my laws in all my appointed times, and set apart my Shabbats. So those priests, those Kohanim, are going to judge situations. They are going to judge disputes. They are going to judge according to what? According to the right rulings of the kingdom of Yahuwah, to the right ruling of the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. So, and you know, who are going to be those kings and priests? We are those kings and priests. We are gonna reign with Yahushua HaMashiach for 1,000 years. So this is applicable in many ways, and we will see most probably in some passages how this is applicable to us. So, and you know, even Yahuwah and Yahushua is showing us how to manage those difficult situations that we are facing every day sometimes, and how to apply this judgment and this righteousness in our day-to-day life. So let's go to the book of Matityahu, the book of Matthew. Chapter 18, verse 15 and 17 to 17. So Yahushua is giving us the key here on how to manage those difficult situations. So let's read it together. It says the following: and if your brother sins against you, go and convict him between you and him alone. If he hears you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not hear, take with you one or two more, that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word might be established. And if he refuses to hear them, say it to the assembly. And if he refuses even to hear the assembly, let him be to you like the nations and a tax collector, like a sinner. So basically, Yahushua is giving us the instruction, a 3-step way for instruction to manage difficult situations. When we have difficult situations that there are people involved, the first step is to go and talk to the person directly. And how we need to manage those situations, those disputes, according to the word of Yahuwah. For sure, we can do that, and especially, and that was the point from Shaul when we were reading 1 Corinthians, is that we can do it when we're talking about true believers. When we're talking about outsiders, there's nothing we can do because they're not going to live according to the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. But we do. So the first step that Yahushua is telling us, is talking to us, he's talking about a brother that is sinning against us, is to go and talk to that brother and to compel him to resolve the situation. And how to define how to solve it is basically following the righteousness and the right rulings of the kingdom of Yahuwah, judging the situation according to those right rulings. It's not listening is the second step. It's going with 2 or 3 witnesses. That's the way that Yahushua is instructing us. And even this second step is not working, the last third step is basically to do it with the entire assembly. And we see this practical example in the words of Shaul, Paul, in 1 Corinthians. This is exactly what they were doing. And you know, if that nothing happened with the first step, you know, we need to give it and keep it in the hands of Yahuwah. He is the only one that he's going to do it. So just to finish this point, you know, we're talking about the Shoftim. We're talking about how we are going to judge, how we need to learn these right rulings in order to be a righteous judge in the future. But we know that it's going to be an ultimate Shofet, an ultimate judge. And we know that it's coming a final judgment. So let's read a few passages just to reinforce this idea, and we know who is that judge. So let's review a few passages from the scripture. So let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 13. We just read it, but let's read it again. But Elohim judges those who are outside. So who is the one that is judging the world and the outsiders? Is Elohim. Elohim, the one judging the outsiders. Let's look for another passage that is talking about Elohim will judge his people. And this is in the book of 1 Peter, Kepha Aleph in Hebrew. 1 Peter, chapter 4, verse 17 to 19. It says, because it is time for judgment to begin from the house of Elohim, and if firstly from us, what is the end of those who do not obey the good news of Elohim? And if the righteous one is scarcely saved, where shall the wicked and the sinner appear? So then, those who suffer according to the desire of Elohim should commit their lives to a trustworthy Creator in doing good. So, judgment is being done by Elohim, and even He's judging His people. So, there's judgment that is going to be according to works, and Yahushua HaMashiach is going to be the one judging. So, let's read this one. So, let's go to the book of John, chapter 5, verse 22. And this is so nice, amazing, and marvelous, because it says, for the Father judges no one, but has given all the judgment to the Son. And we know the Son is the righteous one. He's gonna judge everything according to what he listened to do. And he listened from his Father. So that's why he's going to be the one judging the world. And let's go finally to the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 27. This is a parable, and Yahushua talking about the end times. For the Son of Adam is going to come in the steam of his Father with his messengers, and then he shall reward each according to his works. So he is coming to judge, and he is coming to reward. And how he's going to do it? He's going to do it according to what we do. And you remember what we have been discussing. It's not only about what we think. We need to complete what we believe by doing the work, by doing the action. Without the action, it's not enough. Without the action, it's not completed. We need to believe with our heart, with our mind, but also we need to act accordingly in order to complete and do the desire of the Father. Let's go to the chapter 25 of Matthew, verse 31 and 32. And it says, and when the Son of Adam comes in his steam, and all the set-apart messengers with him, then he shall sit on the throne of his steam, and all the nations shall be gathered before him, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates his sheep from the goats. So we see here, and if you read this in context, it's talking about judgment. It's about separation. And how he is going to separate those is basically judging according to Torah of Yahuwah, according to the righteousness and the right ruling of Yahuwah. So, one aspect, just to move on, one aspect of what I saw today, and this is so important, is connected to everything that we have been talking and sharing so far. Is what is written in the same passage when it's talking about the Shoftim in the book of Deuteronomy. So let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, once again to the chapter 16. And this is something, it's a calling that was for the judges by them. But you know, the word of Yahuwah it has no time. It's applicable to us. And this calling is for all of us. And it's so connected to everything that I have been sharing with you so far. And it's what is written in the verse 20. It says, and listen to this word, because these words, because those words are for me and for you today. It says, follow righteousness alone, so that you live and inherit the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. We have to follow righteousness. We have to follow righteousness in order to live, in order to inherit the land. So that's the calling from Yahuwah since always. And you remember who said the same. You remember the same and very similar words were said by Yahushua HaMashiach. And this is exactly what I want to share with you today. That's the calling from Yahuwah. He's calling us to live according to his righteousness. So let's go to the book of Matthew. What Yahushua said about this. Let's go to the chapter 5. It says, the chapter 5, verse 6, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, because they shall be filled. You know, Yahushua is talking about blessings. We're going to be Baruch. We're going to be blessed. If we are thirst for righteousness, we are going to be filled. And what is that righteousness? Is the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. So, you know, he continues saying in the verse 10, Baruch, blessed are those persecuted for righteousness' sake. Why? Because theirs is the reign, is the kingdom of the heavens, is the Malchut Hashamayim in Hebrew. You know, and it's exactly what we see in this portion. We need to follow righteousness in order to inherit the land. What Yahuwah is talking to us in this passage, that we will follow righteousness, we will inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. It's the same thing that we see Yahushua saying, blessed are those persecuted for righteousness' sake. Why they are going to be persecuted for righteousness' sake? Because they are living according to the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. And this is exactly our calling, to live that lifestyle according to the kingdom of Yahuwah, the righteousness. And that will be a cause of persecution. And I think this is the cause of persecution today. Is going to be the cause of persecution that is coming soon, according to the prophecies of the word of Yahuwah. But if we stand firm, if we endure until the end, we are going to be safe. If we endure until the end and we continue in the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah, the kingdom of heaven is going to be ours, because we are part of that kingdom. We belong to the kingdom. But Yahushua didn't say that only. Let's go to the verse. Before going there, let's go to the chapter 6, verse 33 of Matthew. What Yahushua was saying, but seek first the kingdom, the rank of Elohim, and his righteousness, and all this shall be added to you. So Yahushua is stressing the point that the priority of our lives needs to be the kingdom of Yahuwah and the righteousness of the kingdom in the same way that we see in this passage, in this portion, going in total harmony to what we see here, that we need to follow righteousness. And Yahushua even talked more about this. And then this is exactly the passage that I wanted to share with you just to finish this point. Is in the chapter 5, going back to the chapter 5, verse 20. And this is basically Yahushua speaking to his disciples. And listen to what is said here. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the rank of the heavens. This is so important, because what Yahushua is saying is comparing righteousness. And in the past I did a study about what is righteousness. I hope I had the time to share this study with you once, because in this way we can understand that what is righteousness is something that we can measure, it's something that we can compare, because that's the only way that we can understand the words of Yahushua. Yahushua was saying to his disciples, your righteousness needs to be bigger and better, and it needs to exceed the righteousness of them. If not, you are not going to enter the kingdom of Yahuwah. So it's something that we can see, something that we can compare. If not, it's impossible to understand the words of Yahushua. So what is righteousness? We know righteousness is to do all the words that Yahuwah has commanded us in his Torah. That's part of the righteousness of his kingdom. So what Yahushua was speaking about is exactly what we see here in this portion, that we need to follow righteousness, and we need to follow righteousness alone. So, before continuing, we will do a pause here, and I will just to pause and give some rest to my voice, and I will share with you a new song. Let me put it here, and also I will share with you the link in the chat. So let me share this with you. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. wow, Yahuwah is so amazing. Why? Because I just picked the songs 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the broadcast. And, those are songs that I have been listening to in the past. But sometimes I don't take that much attention to the lyrics. I do, but since I like music, sometimes the music and the melody is the first thing that I put attention with. And I remember those two songs. I said, okay, I will share those two songs. But now that I was taking a look in more the details on the lyrics, it's so nice because those are speaking directly to us and going along to the message that we're sharing today. And this is only Yahuwah and the Ruach doing it. Elohim lanuma hasebaos. This was the part of the lyrics. Elohim lanuma hasebaos. Elohim is our refuge and our strength. This needs to be our conviction that He is our refuge and our strength. The only way that we can live this life and move ahead and progress in this life and to have hope and real shalom is to be under the wings of Yahuwah and to find the strength of Yahuwah. So, and the way to do it is to walk in perfection. The way to do it is to walk in righteousness. The way to do it is to walk in the ancient path. The way to do it is to follow the one we need to follow. And who is that one? Is our Melech. It's our King, Yahushua HaMashiach, because He's leading us in the way. What I have in the screen is a passage that I just, while we were listening to the music, I received some heads up here. You should share this passage, I heard, so I will do it. Because it's going along to what we were discussing. And this is in the book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 51, verse 7. And once again, this is speaking Yahuwah to His people Israel, and you and me are Israel. Don't let anybody to tell you something different. You and me are Israel. We are in the four corners of the earth, and He's talking to His people. And this is what He's talking to His people according to the word of His servant Yeshayahu, His Navi, His prophet Isaiah. It says in the verse 7, listen to me, you who know righteousness, a people in whose heart is my Torah. Do not fear the reproach of men, nor be afraid of their revilings. Listen to me, you who know righteousness. Listen to Yahuwah, you who know righteousness. You people in whose heart is the Torah of Yahuwah. Let's not fear the reproach of men, nor be afraid of them. This is the calling of Yahuwah. We need to know His righteousness, because by following His righteousness, we are going to inherit the Malchut HaShamayim, the kingdom of Yahuwah. So, one thing that also we see in this portion, and it's a calling for all of us, is about something totally connected to live in righteousness, to judge according to the right rulings of Yahuwah. And we find this in the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 18, verse 13. It's a very short passage, few words, but so profound, because it says, be perfect before Yahuwah your Elohim. Yahuwah talking to His people, talking to you and to me. Be perfect before Yahuwah your Elohim. We are being called to be perfect before Yahuwah Eloheinu, our Elohim. So, how to be perfect? And before that, we see Yahushua HaMashiach is speaking exactly the same words. So let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, Matthew chapter 5. Verse 48. Saying the following, therefore, be perfect as your Father in the heavens is perfect. So Yahushua is calling us exactly on the same, because he's not speaking by himself. He's speaking what he's listening and hearing from his Father. He is speaking Torah. He is speaking truth because he is truth. He is the Word made flesh. And he's saying exactly the same. Therefore, be perfect as your Father in the heaven is perfect. We are being called to be perfect. And we know that in this world and this system and in this flesh, we are not going to be perfect. But we need to push and move forward in perfection, in the way of perfection. Because in one moment, at the moment of our transformation or resurrection, we are going to be in an immortal body. We are going to be in a new body. And that body is going to be without sin. And that moment, we are going to reach that perfection. That's our hope. So, we can think, analyze also how to be perfect. And we have a few examples. I want to share it with you. So let's go to the book of Bereshit. This is Genesis, chapter 6, verse 9. And if you know Scripture on the passages by heart, you know that we are talking about Noah, and you can see it in the screen now. So it says the following. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, and listen to this, perfect in his generation. And what was so important to highlight in the life of Noah is exactly in the way that this passage is ended. It says, Noah walked with Elohim. We see that he was a righteous, he was a tzaddik in Hebrew. He was a righteous man. He was perfect in his generation. Why? Because he walked with Elohim. So we see a first characteristic, and we'll see two other examples that are exactly with the same. So let's go to the second example, to the same book of Bereshit, chapter 17. This one of the forefathers is the one that is first mentioned in the covenant, in the eternal covenant of Yahuwah. And who is talking? We are talking about Abraham. So it says the following, and it came to be when Abraham was 99 years old, that Yahuwah appeared to Abraham and said to him, I am El Shaddai. And listen to this, walk before me and be perfect. So again, perfection is connected to walking before Elohim. We saw it in Noah, we see it in Abraham, walking before Elohim with perfection. So let's go to the third example. This is in the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 1. It says the following. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and straight, and one who feared Elohim and turned aside from evil. He was fearing Elohim. The fear of Elohim is the beginning of wisdom. And we know that wisdom, we find it in the word of Yahuwah in his way. So what is common between all of them is that walking with Elohim, we find perfection. So when we see in his word that we have been called to be perfect, basically the calling is that for us is to walk in the way of Yahuwah, because by walking in the way of Yahuwah, we will find perfection. And there are few passages that basically, to summarize this, that is going along with this word. So let's read it together. Let's go to the first one. This is in the book of Melachim Aleph. This is the First Kings. First Kings, Melachim Aleph in Hebrew, chapter 8, verse 61. So let's read together what is said here. Let your heart therefore be perfect to Yahuwah Eloheinu, our Elohim. And listen to this, it's totally in harmony what we see in the examples of Noah, Abraham, Job. It says to walk in his laws and guard his commands as at this day. Let your heart therefore be perfect to Yahuwah Eloheinu, to walk in his laws and guard his commands as at this day. So we see how is the connection between being perfect before Yahuwah and to walk in what way? In the narrow path, walking in his laws, in his commandments, in his covenant. So let's go to the book of Psalms, Tehillim in Hebrew. Psalms 119, and we're going to read it all together entirely. Just kidding. You can do it by yourself. We're going to just read the first verse. It says the following: Baruch atah, or blessed art, the perfect in the way. Walk in the Torah of Yahuwah. This is an amazing passage. This chapter cannot start in a better way. And this is an amazing chapter, by the way, in the scripture. But it cannot start in a best way, in a better way. It says, blessed are the perfect in the way. Who are the perfect in the way? Those who walk in the Torah of Yahuwah. So how to find perfection, how to be perfect before Yahuwah Elohim is by walking in his way. Walking in the Torah of Yahuwah. That's the ancient path. That's the path that Yahushua HaMashiach is leading us, going back to the Father, going back to the ancient path, going back to the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. So let's go to the book of Mishle. Mishle is the book of Proverbs. Mishle, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 18. And this is so nice because it's something that we can see every day, And this is a comparison, a correlation to our walk with Yahuwah. And this is aligned to what I just said a minute ago. Let's read it. It says, but the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, that shines ever brighter unto the perfect day. So, we are walking in the way of Yahuwah, following the Torah of Yahuwah, this is exactly the message to us. That's the path of righteousness. If we walk in that path of righteousness, we are going to be righteous. We are going to be tzaddik. And we know that in order to walk in that path, we need to follow the step of Yahushua HaMashiach. Because through his offering, he's giving us the opportunity to be righteous once again by following Torah and the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah. He's leading us in the way. But, this is a process. That's why, it's like a parable. The only fact that it is written that this is a way, and I think I was sharing this the other day. A way, is not just to stand and to be standing in one position, in one place every day. A way is something that is helping us to connect one point with the other. It's a route that we can go on in order to move ourselves and go from one point to get to a destiny. And this is exactly what the life is. It's a way that we need to walk. But we need to decide, is the way of life or the way of death? And in this case, if we decide the way of life, we need to walk on it. And walk on it is basically to believe on it and to act accordingly. To think, believe, and do. This is what we have been sharing in the last 3 weeks. So, by doing it, we are going to be in the way of perfection, as we just saw in the Psalms 119. And this way of perfection is exactly as it's written here. It's like the light of dawn, that maybe at the beginning is not shining that much. It's not lighting that much every place. But it's growing until the perfect day. And we know when it's going to be that perfect day. That perfect day is going to happen at the coming back of Yahushua HaMashiach and the establishment of the kingdom of Yahuwah and the transformation and resurrection of our bodies. That's going to be the perfect day when we are going to be really perfect to the eyes of Yahuwah. So, what is our decision? To stand by and wait, or to move ahead and to make some progress, learning and walking in this way of righteousness? I decide the second. And I think it's your decision as well, that we need to move ahead. We need to progress in the way of Yahuwah, because this is a walk. We need to do the steps every day. And it's normal that maybe sometimes we stand because we are priests and we are in fear. And sometimes we have the desire to look back and maybe to go a few steps back or to go aside. But in those moments that we need to remember the words of Yahuwah, that we don't need to go to the right or to the left. We need to go straight forward. And we need to cast out any fear from our heart and to follow the lead of Yahushua HaMashiach in this way of perfection. So, the comparison is so nice, because we see the sun rising up and moving and not going back, and the light shining. So this is exactly the way that our life needs to be, because this is the intention of Yahuwah for all of us. So let's read the last one, because this is so connecting everything in the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. And this is in the book of Matthew Yahu, chapter 19. Verse 20 to 22. Maybe you know the story by heart, but this is well connected to what we have been sharing so far. It says, the young man said to him, all this I have watched over my youth. What do I still lack? It says, Yahushua said to him, if you wish to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. And when the young man heard the word, he went away sad because he had many possessions. And actually, if you read even before, the passages before, it says the following. And he said in the verse 16, and see, one came and said to him, good teacher, what good shall I do to have everlasting life? And what was the answer from Yahushua? He said in the 18, he said to him, which? And Yahushua said, actually, I just skip the 17, and it's really important. Let's read it. And he said to him, why do you call me good? No one is good except one, Elohim. But if you wish to enter into life, guard the commands. He started to talk about all the commandments. So what's the point here? Is Yahushua is talking about perfection. Somebody is asking him how to be perfect. And Yahushua was teaching him the way of righteousness. He was saying, give it all. And what's the point here of Yahushua saying give it all? Because he knew his heart in this point. And he knew that we need to put first Yahuwah in our heart in order to walk in righteousness. Because if we put something first in our heart before Yahuwah Elohim, we're not going to be able to follow the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah, because we need to love Yahuwah with all our hearts. So, what's the bottom and what's the point that I want to share with you? Be perfect before Yahuwah. How we find perfection is by walking in the way of Yahuwah, walking in Torah of Yahuwah. I have 2 points more to share with you. And this is important points to me. We see in this portion, and I think it's in the chapter 17. Let's read it together. In the chapter 17 of Deuteronomy. Let's go to verse 14. And it says, and it's talking about the Melech Israel, is the king of Israel. It says the following: when you come to the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell in it, and you shall say, let me set a sovereign over me, like all the nations that are around me. You shall certainly set a sovereign over you, whom Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose. Set a sovereign over you from among your brothers. You are not allowed to set a sovereign over you who is not your brother. And we're going to keep it here because there are many instructions that is really important, and most probably you already read it, but I just want to highlight something here. And it's important what was the structure of Israel at that point. They didn't have, until many years in the future, they didn't have a melech, they didn't have a king. The structure at that point was Moshe and Aharon. Was the Shofet, because that was Moses, the Shofet, a judge, was the first Shofet. And actually we have a book in the scripture called Shoftim. In Hebrew is the book of Judges, because we see many judges appearing before the Melech, before the king, leading the people. And the first one was Moses in this case. That was the first role. And the second role was the Kohen, the priest. So the first model that was working in the people of Israel was the Shofet and the Kohen, the judge and the priest. Now, we see here in this instruction that if the people, after they inherit the land, they ask for a king, a melech will be given. It needs to be among the brothers. It cannot be a stranger, a foreigner. So the model changed. And we know that the first king of Israel was Shaul and Saul. So the model back then was a king and the priest was Melech, Kohen. The Shofet was there, but the main figure was the Melech. So, when we understand this in this way, previously they didn't have a Melech. Who was their Melech? Who was their king? They didn't have a physical king because they have the Shofet, the judge, and they had also the Kohen, the priest. Who was their king? You want to share the answer, please write it down in the chat. Who do you believe was their king back then, before they asked for a king? Their king was Yahuwah Elohim. He was his king. He was in that position and having his servants, the Shofet, the judge, and the priest, was Yahuwah Elohim. So why this is so important? Because there's so amazing plan that we can see just in these passages, just connecting few passages from the scripture. So when Israel asked for the first king was during the period of the prophet Samuel, Shemuel in Hebrew. So the words of Yahuwah back then was so important. Every time that I read it, it touched my heart, because Yahuwah is speaking from his heart about the situation that was happening, even that he spoke through Moses, and he gave the instruction in case the people was asking for a king. They give the instruction what to do, because Yahuwah knows the future, he knows everything, and he knew that this was happening, and he had a plan from the very beginning on what was going to happen. And that plan is so marvelous that when we see these passages, we can connect the dots, and we see a little bit of this plan, just to understand the marvelous work of Yahuwah Elohim. So let's read together what's written here and what happened back then in the time of Samuel. And this is the book of 1 Samuel, Shemuel Aleph in Hebrew, 1 Samuel chapter 8. So let's read it together, the entire passage. It says the following, starting in the verse 1. It says, "And it came to be when Samuel was old, that he made his sons rulers over Israel. He put his sons as Shoftim." Actually, let me confirm this is Shoftim. Let's go to this version. Let's go here. Shaphat. Exactly. The judges, Shoftim, rulers. So Samuel was a judge, and when he was old, he wanted his sons to be continuing with the role of Shofet, of Shofetim in plural, judges over Israel. So let's continue in the verse 2. "And the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abijah, rulers in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, and turned aside after own gain, and took bribes and twisted right ruling." You know, we see they did exactly the opposite of what we are seeing in this passage. They were twisting right ruling, and they were not judging according to the right rulings of Yahuwah. So let's continue. "And all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Shmuel at Ramah, and said to him, Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a sovereign to rule us like all the nations." So we see exactly what we are reading in this passage in Deuteronomy, in Devarim. In case the people ask for a king will be given, but there are certain instructions about this king. So we see exactly here what's going on. People asking for a king. Let's continue what happened in the verse 6. "But the word was evil in the eyes of Shmuel, when they said, Give us a sovereign to rule us." So Shmuel prayed to Yahuwah. And let's see what happened. And these are the important words that always every time that I read it, the verse 7 and 8, that is always touching my heart. And it says the following. "And Yahuwah said to Shmuel, Listen to the voice of the people in all that they say to you. Listen, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from reigning over them, according to all the words which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Mizraim, Egypt, even to this day, forsaking me and serving other mighty ones. So they are doing to you too." So Yahuwah, you know, every time when I read this, I feel Yahuwah crying with this feeling in his heart. They are not rejecting to Shmuel as Shofet. They are rejecting me to be king over them. They have been forsaking me. You remember that we saw this passage 2 weeks ago. Yahuwah pleading with us to remember him. And he is saying exactly the same. They have forsaken me all this time since I took them from Mizraim. And they are rejecting me now to be king over them. So this is a confirmation of what I was sharing with you. Who was the king? And who was acting in this role of king? Before they asked for this, it was Yahuwah Elohim. He was the king of Israel. That's why Israel didn't have the need to have a physical king. They have a shofet and a kohen, a judge and a priest. And Israel rejected Yahuwah being king over them. So that's why, you know, since Yahuwah knew the future, he put instruction in his word about what should be the conditions of the king. And what was the condition? Let's go again to the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 17. Verse 15, saying, "You shall certainly set a sovereign over you, whom Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose. Set a sovereign over you from among your brothers. You are not allowed to set a sovereign over you who is not your brother." So, you know, what was the plan of Yahuwah? And this is the amazing plan that, you know, when you start to connect the dots, you can see it. There is a coming king for Israel. I titled a study that I have in a list of a study that I would like to do, and I titled the coming king of Israel, the coming Melech Israel. And that king, that Melech is coming. What Yahuwah is trying to do during all these years, he will be once again, the Melech of Israel. He has chosen his Melech in order to reign again over Israel and over the entire world. And how he did it? He did it through a covenant. He did it through an amazing covenant that without this covenant, we would not be here sharing this virtual house church. We would not be here with the hope of being part of the coming kingdom of heaven that's going to be established here. And that covenant, amazing covenant, we found it in the same book of Samuel. Let's go to 1 Samuel. I think it's in chapter 7. It's 2 Samuel, sorry. 2 Samuel, Shemuel Bet, chapter 7. And this is an amazing passage because we see the Melech according to Yahuwah's heart, the king according to Yahuwah's heart. This is David, with this amazing desire on his heart to build a house to Yahuwah. And because of his desire, he got an amazing covenant and an amazing promise. And through that promise, we have a king now, an amazing king, and a unique king, that is Yahushua HaMashiach. And what was that promise? I didn't have this prepared, so let's find the place. Let's read from the verse 12. It says, "When your days are filled and you rest with your fathers, I shall raise up your seed after you." This is part of the promise from Yahuwah to David, "who comes from your inward parts, and shall establish his reign. He does build a house for my name, and I shall establish the throne of his reign forever." And listen to the verse 14, because this is the key to understand who is talking about. The verse 14. "I am to be his father." Yahuwah Elohim is talking to David, to your seed, to that person. "I am to be his father, and he is my son. If he does perversely, I shall reprove him with the rod of men and with the blows of the sons of men. But my loving commitment does not turn aside from him, as I turned aside from Shaul, whom I removed from before you." So, who is talking about? I'm going to be his father and he is going to be my son. Through this amazing covenant, we see the lineage of the kingship. And we know that Yahushua HaMashiach is coming from this lineage. And I have been sharing with you in previous broadcasts that it's my belief that in Yahushua HaMashiach there are two lineages that are being merged together. The lineage of the kings, through David, and the lineage of Aaron for the Kohanim. So in Yahushua HaMashiach, we have something that I call in Hebrew, the Melech Bekohen HaAdol. This is the king and high priest in Yahushua HaMashiach. And we know that in Yahushua is the son of Yahuwah, is the son of Elohim. And Yahushua is taking over in the kingdom. So Israel from the past decided to reject Yahuwah of being a king over them. But Yahuwah in his heart intended and put a plan together in order to be king again through Yahushua HaMashiach. Is the man he chose. He was chosen to be the king. So, when we see this kind of things, it's so amazing how Yahuwah has been orchestrating everything throughout the years in order to be the king over Israel. And we have such an amazing king that we need to follow his steps, because we have been seeing his face, we have been seeing the Father, as he was saying to his disciples. He is the image and likeness of the Father. So it's Yahuwah basically taking over the kingdom as he was intended to do it from the very beginning. So see, this is an amazing truth. And last thing, but not the least, and I just saw it when I was reading the passage today, and just this to complete everything that I have been sharing with you. It's about what should be our attitude. We have been seeing in multiple passages in these few weeks is that we are servants of Yahuwah, we are servants of Elohim, and we need to have a special attitude to serve Yahuwah. Cannot be any attitude. We need to have a special behavior and a special attitude, and that attitude and behavior is going along with the decision to walk in this way, to walk in righteousness, to be perfect in the way. And this attitude, we see it clearly in the chapter 18 of Devarim. And this is in the chapter 18, verse 5 to 7. And this is talking about the Leviim, the Levites, and the Kohanim, the priests. So let's read from the verse 5 to the verse 7. And it says the following: For Yahuwah your Elohim has chosen him. It's talking about the Leviim. If you read this in context, the first one is talking about the priests, the Levites. So that's the context, just for you to connect the dots. So in that context, it's saying, For Yahuwah your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes to stand to serve in the name of Yahuwah, him and his sons forever. And just thinking the following, the parallel between the tribe of Levi, the tribe of Levi, being chosen out of all tribes of Israel, with Israel itself, the people of Israel being chosen out of all the nations. And we know that the desire of the heart of Yahuwah, it was to choose Israel in order to be kings and priests. That's the purpose of Israel, to be light to the nations, to light of the world. So that was the purpose. Also, the correlation and the parallels between the tribe of Levi with the Israel is a direct correlation. So the same that is applicable to Levi in this case is also applicable to Israel as a body, as an assembly. So let's read it again. For Yahuwah your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes to stand to serve in the name of Yahuwah, him and his sons forever. And listen to the verse 6. And when the Levi comes from one of your gates, from where he has sojourned among all Israel, and listen to this part, because this is exactly what I'm talking about, and shall come with all the desire of his being to the place which Yahuwah chooses. Then he shall serve in the name of Yahuwah his Elohim, like all his brothers the Leviim, the Levites, who are standing before Yahuwah, shall come with all the desire of his being to the place to do what? To serve in the name of Yahuwah. If we want to be true servants, if we want to be real servants of Yahuwah, we need to do it with all the desire of our being. If we do it in any way different than that, we are not true servant. And this is why Yahushua was talking about, that we need to worship Yahuwah in spirit and in truth, in Ruach Be'emet, Hebrew, in spirit and in truth. We need to do it with all the desire of our being, because we are serving the Master of Masters, the Adon HaAdonim in Hebrew. We are serving the King. We need to do it with all the desire of our heart. And you remember what I was talking Many minutes ago, that was the Ruach basically connecting these passages. Yahushua speaking that he was doing the desire. If we desire to do the desire of the Father, again, it's the desire, the word desire. It needs to be our desire in our heart to serve Yahuwah. And we need to do it with all our being, with all our heart. That's the standard that Yahuwah is looking and asking from us, is to love Him with all our heart, with all our mind, with all our strength, with all our being. And by love Him is to serve Him with all the desire of our hearts. In the same way that the Levites were going to this place. We have not the chance to go to Jerusalem now. The kingdom has not been established. We are the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh. So if we want to serve Yahuwah, we need to do it according to what is written here. We need to do it with all the desire of our being, because we are serving Yahuwah Elohim. And I cannot imagine how it will be when we will have the chance to go to the land, when we are going to be gathered all together from the four corners of the earth in order to inherit the land once again, at the moment that Yahushua is going to establish the kingdom of Yahuwah. I feel the desire of my heart, and most probably that desire is also growing in you for that moment, when we are going to go to the place that He chooses to put His name on, in the same way that we see in this passage, with all the desire here in our heart to serve Yahuwah Elohim. But the amazing thing is that we don't need to wait for that moment. We need to hope for that moment. It's going to be an amazing and a glorious, as I see in the chat, a glorious moment to be. And we long for that moment to happen very soon. But we don't need to wait for that moment. We need to hope that it's different. Why we should not wait for that moment? Because now is the time, and now we have the chance to serve Yahuwah with that desire. We should not wait a minute to serve Yahuwah with that desire in our heart. This is the time to serve Him with that desire. This is the time for us to be Kohanim, to be priests, to be that light of the world, to walk in righteousness, to be perfect in the way of Yahuwah by walking in His Torah. But it doesn't matter if we do it with our mind only. What it matters if we do it with all the desire of our being to serve Yahuwah Elohim. And what's so nice and so beautiful in all of this is that desire, it doesn't come by itself. And Shaul was talking about. So this is the last passage that I want to share with you, speaking about this. Let's go to the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 12 and 13. So Paul was talking to the Philippians this, saying, so that, my beloved, as you always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much rather in my absence, work out your own deliverance with fear and trembling. That needs to be our attitude. We need to work out our own deliverance by fear and trembling. But listen to these words in the way that Shaul was speaking to this assembly. For it is Elohim who is working in you and me, in all of us, to desire and to work for His good pleasure. We need to serve Yahuwah with all the desire of our being. But it's Yahuwah Elohim Himself. He is putting that desire in our heart. So we need to let Yahuwah, through His Ruach, to ignite that fire and that desire within us. We should not put any stopper for that fire to be lighted up by Yahuwah. Because it's Him, Himself, and that's the amazing part. If we let Him to do it, that desire will start growing. We're gonna be hunger and thirst, that I see in the chat, for His righteousness, for the desire to serve Him with all our heart, in truth, in spirit, and in truth, is Yahweh himself. He will do it by writing down his Torah in our own hearts. And we need to let the Ruach and that fire to grow in our heart, the fire from Yahweh, without any stopper. And by doing it, we are going to start serving him with all the desire that he himself is putting within us. So we need to let him to live his life, the life of Yahushua in us. I think that's my conclusion for everything that we have been sharing so far. Every time that we try to do it, as I said at the beginning, with our own mind and wisdom, that's not going to happen. We need to follow what he put within us. So, brothers and sisters, thank you so much to be with me here. I think it is an amazing way to finish this study of today, talking about the desire of Yahuwah in our hearts, the fire that we need to grow every day, especially in these times of challenging times of troubles. Especially that we need more than ever to remember the words of Yahuwah. It's not easy, but we need to stand firm in the rock. We need to have this fire and to look for that fire to grow, that desire, in order to be contagious, not of viruses or anything like that. We need to go and to share this fire in order to the people to feel it and to get it and to grasp it. The desire to serve Yahuwah Elohim, the desire to walk his way, the desire to be perfect, the desire to be righteous, the desire and the hope, as the song was saying, that Yahushua HaMashiach is coming, he will come soon, and he is our strength and our hope. So, like always, I want to finish with the Aaronic blessings. It's an amazing song that Adam and Jacob did together. So, but before sharing the video music with you, just to tell and said again, Shabbat Shalom, thank you for joining me. Sorry for being that late, but thank you for being obedient. Also, you of sharing this time with me and the others. It's my prayer that the Ruach will guide you all during this new week. That's my prayer that Yahuwah be with you all in this new week, giving you the strength and the fire. And it's my prayer, as we did it at the beginning, that the Rov can be restored very soon. We need to keep him in our thoughts and our prayer. And we need to have faith that he is going to be restored. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the study. I enjoyed it very much. As always said, this is such a blessing to me. And I hope this is also a blessing to you all. So here we go, and let's listen to the Aaronic blessing.
Yahuwah, bless you and keep you. Yahuwah, make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah, lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuwah, make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah, lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Yahuwah te bendiga y te guarde. Yahuwah haga resplandecer su rostro en ti y tenga de ti compasión. Yahuwah alce su rostro sobre ti y te dé paz, te dé paz, te dé paz.
And Shabbat Shalom. Yahuwah be with you all. Have a blessed week. See you next week.